Hi all, it's Hoxie here, just making a gameplay video and a bit of a talk-through on the pre-alpha game UBoat. So if you've played any of the old World War II sub-simulators like Silent Hunter or even the new Cold Waters, I believe it was, you'll know this style of game. This is definitely closer to Silent Hunter than it is Cold Waters, or at least I think that's what the game was called. I can't quite remember, I didn't really enjoy it myself. But yeah, we'll just close this and we'll crack on in. The game did have an update yesterday, so it's now a version 119. So I've only played it on 118, so it's my first time playing it since the update yesterday, so we'll have to see if anything's changed. And if they do, hopefully I'll be able to walk you through it. Hopefully it doesn't change too much, because the game was quite good on 118. Since it is in pre-release, it is still quite buggy, and the loading screens do take some time. Actually, the game just crashed on me about 5 minutes ago on the loading screen, so don't let it deter you. It is just because the game is new and they are focusing on other things rather than the loading screens at this point. But yeah, just crack on and push through the loading screen and we'll see how we go. And here we go, we're into the ship, or the boat rather. So let's take a quick scan around. Yeah, so it doesn't look like anything out here has changed since version 118, so we'll have to see what they've changed. So I'll go through the officers for you first and show you what they can do and walk you through those. So these are your 5 officers you start with. So this is here is your captain. He is a leader. So there are 3 types of officers. There's leaders, radio men, and engineers. So my captain here is a leader, and as you can see here, this is all of his details. Over here you can assign normal crew members to assist him in whatever he does, and then based on the type of officer he is, will determine what those crew members will do if he doesn't need them. So a leader, for example, if you have 2 crew members assigned to him but he doesn't need them, they will run around and carry ammo around, which is actually a job one of your officers can do, but we'll move on to that in a second. So my captain here is assigned to a watch officer. So his role on the ship, on the boat, will be to man the conning tower, or the bridge rather, up here, and stay on the lookout for ships, planes, land, things like that. When I'm submerged, he'll do the same thing, but on the attack periscope. If the attack periscope is filled by someone else, he will do it on the observation periscope. If for whatever reason all 3 of these are occupied and he can't do anything else, he will man the navigator station to ensure that the ship doesn't get lost out in the open ocean. So that's a watch officer, so I'll leave him set to that. Come down here, my first mate. Again, a leader, so exact same crew options as the captain here. He is set to a chief bosun. So his role is to ensure that the crew's discipline remains as close to or at 100% at all times. If it is below 100%, he will do things like play cards with the crew to keep their morale and discipline up, or he will move over to the galley and cook them some better food, again to do the same thing. If the crew is at 100% discipline, he will then move to the navigator station and once again ensure that we do not get lost out in the open ocean of the Atlantic. So as a leader, he can be set to either one of those 2. However, I like to have one officer and one chief bosun, just to ensure that I don't have any renegade crew members running around at all at any point. The 3rd officer is a radio man. So if you assign crew members to him, what they will do is, if they're not tasked with assisting the radio man, the officer rather, they will act as medics on your boat and heal any wounded crew members. Should you get wounded straight from a plane or a depth charge or something of that nature. So a radio man can be set to a radio officer. So as a radio officer, he will man the radio room here and gather and run the radio. So you can listen to music to increase your crew's morale, or you will receive transmissions from headquarters, as we have one here. So what you do, you click on that and he will then decode the message, and then a message box will pop up on this side over here. This isn't going at the moment because I have paused the game just for this little bit of the talk through here. The second role that the radio man or a radio officer can do is technician's officer. So once you have hydrophones or a radar installed on your ship, you can assign them to that, and then he will man the listening room instead, and then he will listen to the hydrophone when you're submerged, or monitor the radar when you're on the surface of the water. Now it comes down to your engineers here. So this one here, Felix, is currently set to a chief engineer. So what he will do is he will man the engines, the diesel engines if I'm surfaced, or the electric engines if I'm submerged, and he will basically ensure that I can have more speed. So if you come here to the telegraph here, so you'll notice this is forwards, this is backwards. Forwards has 5 different speed values. If he is manning the engines, then I can access up to number 4. I don't use 4 at all, so I don't leave him as a chief engineer. I actually swap him to mechanic. So that only leaves me with 1, 2 and 3. But that's all I ever use anyway, so having him as a chief engineer is a bit redundant for me. As a chief engineer, when the ship takes damage, he will abandon the engines and repair any damage that the ship has sustained automatically. So that's the only upside to that. However, I'll swap him over to mechanic now. Mechanics do the same thing, but however, instead of maintaining the engines, they maintain the torpedoes. So if there's an empty torpedo tube, he'll load that. If there's a torpedo in there but it needs to be maintained so that it's not a dud, he'll do that. And then if all the torpedoes are fine, they'll move to the workshop and ensure that any scrap that I have on board is turned into replacement parts for further repairs, and then they'll just rest. So I set them both to mechanic, as I don't need the engines. So once again, this is an engineer here. Again, same thing, set him to mechanic and he'll do as described before. If you assign a crew member to an engineer and he's not needed, the crew will then do absolutely any repairs on the ship that's needed. However, as my ship's undamaged, that's not needed at this time. So that's the officers. So what we're going to do now is I'll show you another feature. I'll close this one up. We'll come over here to the menu and then to headquarters here. So in here is where you can send your officers to go do tasks outside the ship, so you can get better equipment or intelligence or money from Europe. So me personally, I like to get snorkels first, as it allows me to run my diesel engines at periscope depth, thus significantly extending the amount of time I can remain submerged. So in order to do that, I'm going to come over here to recruitment. So this is where you get new crew members for your ship and new officers. So I'm going to open up the recruitment menu, or actually I'll open up the crew management menu first. I'll show you in here. So these are your officers up here. So these are just the ones who are on your ship. If they're green, that means they are boarded, as it says here. So you scroll down, so you find one that's not green, and these are your crew members and officers who are not boarded at this time. So this is a spare radio man that I have. However, since I have 5 out of 5 officers, I can't use him. I do have 17 out of 18 sailors though, so I'll add another sailor to the mix, and so we're good to go. So I'll exit that. Now since I want snorkels in the headquarters, I do need another engineer, and it doesn't look like I can actually get one, which is just a stroke of bad luck. So we'll have to use the radio man instead. So we'll get out of there and we'll go back to the headquarters. So in here, so the snorkels for example, I need an engineer to complete this. It says requires engineer. So I can't actually do that one. So I'm going to have to close that and find one and decide on what I want to do, what I want the radio man to do that I have. So I'll do hydrophones first. So this one takes a radio man, as you can see. So I'll add the radio man to it. It's going to take 72 hours to complete. So it is quite a long time. However, it does go quite quick once you're out there and you're fast forwarding the game and things like that. So that's that. So now what I will do is I'm going to have all my officers have another role. So these 3 roles here are generic and can be done by any officer on the boat at all. So you've got quartermaster. So this officer will then run around and carry ammo from the cargo holds in the ship up to the deck gun and the AA gun, and he'll just keep doing that constantly until that's done. So I'm going to set him to set these 3 here to these 2. Actually, I'll set one of my engineers as well. Makes it a bit easier. I'll set them to quartermaster. So this engineer will continue loading my torpedoes, and this one will continue manning the radio. And I'll just leave them to do that now. So I'll unpause the game so they do that while we do everything else. So I'll come over here into the warehouse and I'll buy some more supplies. So in here you can upgrade your ship. I don't have any upgrades yet because it's just started, so I'm not going to do that one right now. And here's where you come in. So I'm going to fill up my fuel tank, as you do start with only 88% of fuel. So I'll fill that, and then I'll come in here, and once my torpedoes, they've finished loading my torpedoes, I'll repurchase them so that I have enough. I do have more than enough already, but I already also have more than enough ammunition for my deck gun and AA gun as well anyway. So torpedoes is what I want more of. So I'll wait till they finish that. And in the meantime, I'll come over here and we'll see what missions there are for us to complete. So you've got reputation purchases here. So reputation points are this symbol here. And it's what you get for completing missions and completing tasks out in the ocean. At the moment, obviously, I have none as the game has just started. So we'll come through here and we'll select a mission. They're all patrol missions, which is good. However, as you can see, there are different difficulties. These difficulties don't really change what's out there, but it does change the extra objectives you get on each patrol and how difficult they are to complete. So I'll select the media one. So hopefully that'll get us to sink some ships a bit better. A bit more likely anyway. Show you a bit more of the gameplay. So as you can see, my radio operator has decoded that message. So I'm going to move him to quartermaster as well, as I don't need him on the radio now, because I'm still in port. So we'll see what this message is. So it's a miscommunication, so it's just have a fruitful patrol, U96. Sweet. Alright, so my mission is to patrol sector AL. So let's come out of here. We're going to hit M, which is the hotkey for map, and we're going to see where it wants us to go. So it wants us to head up to this sector here. Now, so what our mission is, we're going to have to sail up to this sector, and then we're going to have to travel 2,250 kilometers inside this box. Now, it is worth noting you can enter the box and then chase the convoy out of the box. It will not cancel the mission. It will not fail the mission. Obviously, the kilometers you travel outside the box, however, will not tick over. So you do have to re-enter the box to complete the mission. Alright, so you can't take advantage of the game that way. So we'll zoom in here to our friendly port, and as you can see, there are 3 other submarines docked. Oh, correction, there are 2. So no, that looks like that's a submarine that's bugged just there. As you can see, its symbol is there. However, we can't see it. But that's our sub here. This is our dock. And as you can see, you can zoom all the way in and see a lot of detail in the areas where they wanted you to see detail. Obviously out here there's nothing to see, so it doesn't look as nice as in here, but the game is pre-alpha, so I'm sure that'll still be fixed later on. But look at all the detail you can see in here. It's just astonishing. You can see puddles on the ground. Where was that puddle I just saw a second ago? I think it's here. I think that was the puddle there, but it looks like it's not rendering at the moment. But you can see the crew members running around doing their laps. So, come out of here. Now, we'll show you one other thing as well. Personally, I don't quite like this, so I don't use it. However, if you click this symbol here on your crew, you can actually come in here and control your crew members in first person. So you can come down in here and walk through your ship. Walk through, says my captain there, he's hauling the ammo up the ladder. So that takes you up to the conning tower. I'll show you that in a minute. You can walk all the way through the ship. Every room's open. Every task that your officers can complete by themselves, you can complete manually like this. So we're just going to walk through. Here's your galley, where everything's cooked. Your engine room. Obviously I can't maintain these engines because I am currently controlling the radio man. Requires an engineer. Walk all the way down. Diesel compressor, electric compressor, workshop, stern torpedo tube, absolutely everything is able to be manually controlled on this ship. So what we're going to do, we're going to scroll backwards on the mouse wheel to zoom back out to this view and let that officer do his job. Alright, so what we're going to do now, now that we've got our mission, we're going to return everyone back to their original tasks, and then we're going to crack on. What I will do is I will give my first mate, actually no, I will not worry about that. Actually, I was going to get a crew member to continue to load the ammo, but I should have enough loaded as it is anyway. So what we're going to do is going to hit the telegraph and go to forward 1 to de-dock and crack on. So normally I'd hang around and buy my extra torpedoes and things like that, but I don't want to cut out any gameplay, as I want to show you guys everything that this game can do in its entirety, and the pros and cons to all that. So I don't want to cut the travel time out or anything like that, because I want to show you guys how long the game does take to play, so you get a good feel for whether you actually enjoy it or not. So as you can see, now that my engines are running, my battery power is increasing, so my battery charge rather is increasing, as the diesel engines generate power for my electric batteries to charge my electric engines. As a counter to that, they're obviously using fuel, which I have a limited supply of. And my oxygen here, which is full at the moment because I am surfaced, but once I submerge, that'll start to decrease. My discipline, which is still going up, and my reputation here, which I haven't gained any of yet because I'm still a new captain. So what we're going to do, we're just going to sail around the port for a little bit. So what I can do in the game, you've got two fast forward options in the game. So you've got time compression here, which is just a fast forward. So as you can see, the game's just sped up a little bit. Or you can come out to the map, give yourself a waypoint by right clicking on the mouse. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click out here.
Change course.
And then out here as well. So we're going to head out that way. Let's see the sector we need to go. And now you see this fast travel option. So this option is available when you're close to shore or a friendly vessel, or an enemy vessel, but not near enough to be engaged by the vessel. And it essentially just speeds up time very fast till you are not near whatever it is you are near. Which is why it won't work when you're close to an enemy vessel that can engage you, because obviously you can't control your ship like this. You need to get out of fast travel mode to be able to do anything, which could cost you your life if you don't see what's coming at you. So I'm just going to keep fast forwarding until we get out into the open ocean, and then we'll crack on with the mission. So now, as you can see, the game's sped up a lot as we've entered what the game calls a travel zone, or long distance travel. So basically, I'm out in the open ocean and I'm nowhere near anything at all. Well, not close enough to anything for it to be an issue anyway. So now when I hit time compression, it speeds the game up very, very quick. So I'll get over here in a matter of minutes. That's a good 1,600 kilometers, as you can see. So it is far faster to play than the old Silent Hunter games. And it does slow down time automatically for you, completely back down to normal time if you do detect something, which hopefully we'll see soon. You'll notice the fast travel option is disabled in this mode, as it's only for when you're near things. So we'll just travel out here and we'll see what we see. One thing you will notice while you're travelling around or doing anything is when you leave your officers to their own devices, they will complete the tasks that you've given them in their little role here. And when that task is either complete and they have nothing else to do, like my two engineers here who are just in bed resting, or they're running out of stamina and need to sleep, they'll go to bed themselves. So they will manage themselves, however, they won't take into account if you've seen something. They won't go rest, they have enough energy to deal with it. You will need to do things like that manually. You can send officers to bed manually by hitting the rest button here, and then they will stay in bed until you click that button again to disable it. So you can manage them yourselves. If you leave them to your own devices and you're just out travelling like this, they will do more than enough as they are now. So as you can see, my engineers know that something needs to be done. They've jumped back out of bed and gone to go do it. So what they're doing is warming up the torpedo to prevent it from being a dud. So you do need to warm your torpedoes periodically to ensure that when they do hit a boat, hit an enemy ship, they don't just bounce off, as that is a thing, and you do need to prevent that. As you can see with my radio man and my captain here, their stamina's back to full. They jump straight back out of bed and crack on with their job. Now one thing you can do as well to make your life easier, if you don't want to constantly have to come in and out of the map all the time, you can click on a crew member, hold in the tab button, and it opens up this menu. Actually, you know what, you can even do it without clicking on a officer. You just hold in the tab menu, hover over who you want, and you can see the available, or most of the available jobs they can do. So the engineer here, there are some other jobs he can do, like he can go to the valves and dive the boat. He can go to the workshop and create spare parts. These aren't in here. You do need to do things like that manually. However, most of the big jobs you can just select from in here, just to save yourself some time, so you don't have to go in and out of the map screen all the time if it's something you don't want to do. There are quite a few things on the screen that I haven't showed you, like these buttons and exactly what these are. A lot of those will be shown to you when you play the tutorial. I don't want to overload you guys with information. I just want to show you guys the game, so you can determine whether you would like to play it, and then obviously play the tutorial for yourselves as well. So you'll see I've actually detected a transport ship.
Alarm.
So I'm going
Take your
to
positions.
send the radio message to let headquarters know that I've seen it. And once that's done, I'm going to dive the boat so that
Periscope
I
deck.
can remain undetected. So from here I'm going to send this gentleman, my first mate, to the hydrophone so that I can listen and use my sonar, or my hydrophone rather, to keep an eye on this transport ship. So this officer here now, we'll zoom into him. He's come to the valves so that my depth steer station can actually dive the boat. So now that that's done, my crew that was up top has come down, locked the hatches, and you'll see that I will slowly start to submerge. It is a slow process. It is far slower than if you've seen any submarine movies. It is not quick. So don't assume you can get nice and close to a ship and then dive at the last minute. They will shoot you, and it will take you some time. So even now, they can still hit me now if they know where I am, but it's a little bit harder for them to detect me now. So as you can see, I've also detected another group of ships out here just from the propeller noise. Can't tell what it is. All I can tell is that the group is 6 to 13 ships big. That's quite a big convoy. It's not the biggest I've seen, and it still classifies it as a small group. So I'm assuming there'd be some quite large groups out in the game once the game is fully released. But for now, I'm going to leave that one alone. We'll just hit this transport out here if I can catch it. So we're going to speed up the cost of battery power to get out there and hopefully catch it before it gets away. There we go. I've heard another propeller noise out this way, another ship, and another one there. Looks like a ship is detached from that convoy. So we're going to hope we can catch this one, and it's only a couple of freighters, because that would be a good way to start off and show you guys what we can really do in this game. I'm just detecting propeller noises all over the place now. So it looks like the sea is far more populated than it was in the previous version of the game. And yeah, there's a lot more to do out in the ocean now. Previously in the last version in 1.18, there wasn't much to do outside the missions. And as such, if you weren't doing a mission, it was rather boring for parts. But it looks like they've increased everything now, which is good. So as you can see, it's just 2 freighters, which is lovely. That'll be nice and easy for me to do. So we're just going to get a little bit closer, and that way we'll be able to start detecting them. So once I get inside this blue circle, actually I'll do it now. So this green circle here, as you can see, it says sight. is so I can see that with my periscope. I can physically see the ship. My hydrophones is where I can hear it. So now that it's inside this blue circle, my first mate who's on the hydrophone can hear it and is able to tell me what it is after a while. It will take him some time, but he will be able to do that. If I had an officer on the periscope instead of just a normal crew member like I do now, I'd also be able to detect them that way. Since it's a crew member, however, they're not as experienced, not as good, and as such can't do that. So now I can detect both ships, which is good. So we're going to... So he's getting tired, so I'm actually not going to be able to do anything right now. So I'm going to have to turn the boat a little bit. I'm going to put one of my engineers in the listening room, just so this guy can have a rest. So I'm going to put him back to normal mode. Hopefully everyone else wakes up pretty soon, because I'm going to lose these ships. Otherwise... So here we go. So my targeting computations are got the percentage is going up, and basically what I've found so far is that the higher the percentage, the greater the chance of you hitting what you're aiming at.
Change course.
So you want that number as high as you can. So I'm going to try and get a parallel course to these ships, so that I can keep up with them long enough to shoot a torpedo at them. It looks like I'm going faster than them at the moment, which is fine. I'm happy with that. As you can see, they are an allied ship. Not entirely sure what flag that is. I think it looks kind of like the Canadian flag with a couple of symbols missing, so I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. As you can see, they're travelling at 11 kilometres an hour now. I'm travelling at 15, so I will stay ahead of them, which is good, because then I can just slow down when I'm ready to engage. So now that this gentleman is awake, I'm going to fast forward, move him back. So I'm going to put my radio man on the hydrophone first. Now, the reason for that is if I take this guy off the hydrophones, and then there's no one manning the hydrophone, and then my radio operator comes over, I will need to start the detection process again, and that is quite painful, because you might get a pretty good target lock, and then you'll lose the whole thing. So I'm actually going to wait until he is in the listening room, as he is now, and then I'm going to move west, back off to do his job. So as you can see, I'll come over here, and the targeting computation is still at 75%, as opposed to losing it completely, which I have done a couple of times, and it is rather frustrating. So now, as before at the dock, you can zoom in on the ships and get some absolutely amazing detail. So it's a poor example of this one because there's no crew members on the deck, but you can zoom in and see crew walking around and doing their jobs, especially on the bridge wings. You'll often see crew members up there with binoculars looking out for enemy submarines and enemy ships and things like that. Poor example there though, it says no one there, but that's what we're going to do. We're just going to fast forward as my U-boat turns and I get ready to fire a torpedo. What we're going to do, I'm just going to
Set a course for
stop the
these
turn.
coordinates.
That's close enough for me. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to unfast forward. So I'm going to click the first ship. So that's the second ship. So I'm going to click the first one. Come over here to launch torpedoes at this target. And I'm going to flood my first torpedo tube. So once this is flooded, I will launch it, and then I'll select the second ship and launch a second tube as well. I will need to individually flood it, because if you do flood two tubes and hit the fire button, it will fire both tubes, even if you don't intend to. So if you only want to fire one at one ship, one at the other, flood it, shoot it, then flood it and shoot it again. Otherwise you will launch two torpedoes by mistake. So I'm going to fire that one. Once that leaves, alright, so that's gone, so I'm going to select this ship, the button again, flood tube 2, and then fire my second fish. Alright, and fire. So it looks like tube 3 is actually bugged at the moment. It does happen every now and then. They load a torpedo but it doesn't load properly. So I will show you how to fix that. And that method usually works, not always. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times, but it usually works to unbug, I guess, the torpedo. But we'll wait until after this engagement before I show you that. So as you can see the torpedo and its bubbles. You can see the torpedo itself right there. So they've gone into a lot of detail, especially with these map screens. So we'll see what type of damage this causes. There we go. That ship is on fire. Probably won't last long. We'll have to see what its crew does and how well its crew is at damage control. So we'll let that one burn for now. Come down here, watch this one. And this one has sustained a similar fate. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to sit here and wait and see what the crew does. Hopefully they abandon their ships, which is the ideal case here, because then the ship will just sink. So there we go. So that ship is sunk. So now I'm going to surface so I can report this to High Command. So I'm going to wait until I get above water, and then I will take my radio operator. So alright, so I'm surfacing. My radio operator is going to return to his duties. And a little trick I've found is if he's doing something else, just click on him, click rest, and then unclick rest, and he'll return to his normal duties as if you weren't controlling him beforehand. That's a nice, quick, easy way to do that. So now that that's done, I'm going to report the sinking of these ships, and as a result, I'm getting $50,000 or $50,000 budget to spend once I get back to dock. So that's a good start. I'm quite happy with that. In the previous version, there was nothing you could do with these pontoons that I was aware of, and it still doesn't. So it looks like I can actually engage them. I can actually sink them if I wanted to. So I don't really think I'm going to bother doing that though, because that's just a waste of ammo. They're just crew members. They know they've been sunk by a submarine. Get that word of that getting out's not really going to hinder me at all. So I'm going to try and scream away relatively quickly from here, because if I do see an enemy plane, especially with this large fleet right here, I don't know what's in that. That could be warships, it could be just 13 transports. There's no way for me in knowing. I don't really want to risk there being a carrier there, because if there is, the planes are quite deadly, and they will sink me quite easily, as they've done to me many times before. So we are going to... What are you doing? You're warming a torpedo. So instead of loading them, so it looks... Oh no, it's preheating tube 2. So that's alright. So we're going to fast forward this. I'm going to use fast travel and get away from here. Notice I'm not going to increase speed though, because it does cost more fuel and I will run out of fuel quicker. You can do that to get away even faster, but I like to conserve my fuel so that I can stay out for as long as possible. So now that I'm away, it looks like the other fleets don't know, because none of them have turned around. That, or they're all just transports and they're trying to get away. But in saying that though, those markers are only predicted locations based on where I last saw them and what they were last doing. So, you know, they might actually be turning. We don't actually know, which is the joy of this game. You never know what the AI is doing against you. So it looks like Tube 1 and Tube 3 are now both bugged. So I'm going to show you how to fix those, but real quick. I'm going to fill up my compressed air, which is what you use to blow your ballast tanks and surface the boat. So we're going to come down here, you've got your diesel compressor and your electric compressor. Diesel compressor is the one you use when you're surfaced. Your electric one is the one you use while you're submerged. Now it is worth noting, if you use your electric one while submerged, it does take the compressed air, fill the compressed air, but it does take it out of your normal oxygen supply. So it's best to do it while surfaced, but in a worst case scenario you can do it submerged. Especially since you can use your ventilation here to refill your oxygen while submerged. However, once again, that costs power. So, you know, you got to trade your power for your oxygen, or you got to try and survive on the oxygen you've got. So what I'm going to show you now, as you can see, these two torpedoes are bugged because they are sticking out of the tubes. So I'm going to pause this so I can walk you through this. So what you do is here, you get an engineer, hold the right mouse button over this cog symbol, open storage room, and what you're going to do, you're going to drag the two bugged torpedoes. So drag one with him, come over to this gentleman, so which I can't do. It seems they've changed that, only one crew member can interact with it at a time now. Drag it out into storage, so he'll unload it, and then before he does anything else, I'm going to get him to unload tube 3 so that I can reload them both. Now, this usually, and I'm going to say usually loosely here, usually fixes the bug. Sometimes it will bug up again, and you just simply repeat the process. You just do this until it loads properly. There's no way to determine if it'll load properly the next time or not. So as you can see, he's loading that torpedo now, which isn't ideal, but I mean, it doesn't really hinder me at all. So we'll see how it goes. So I'll come back out to the map. I'll wait till he's done, and then we'll go back in, and we'll see if he does it properly this time. So as you can see, I've seen a friendly submarine, which is good. So I can report that so that High Command knows where that submarine is, if that submarine happens to lose radio contact or something like that. So it gets me 150 budget. So it's not much, but you know, it's once you start buying stuff and you have some upgrades to spend your budget on, every dollar is worth its weight. Alright, so that tube is now loaded, so we'll turn that off. We'll go in and have a look. Alright, so it is loaded. It did load correctly, which is good. He is now warming up the torpedo. So we'll see. So now that's being done, we will unload tube 3 so that we can unbug that one while we're here. So we'll just fast forward, bring my other engineer down. Alright, sweet. So he'll do that for me, and then once he's done, we will see how it goes. So we'll fast travel away from our friendly U-boat here. Alright, so now the air compressor is done, by the symbol disappearing, my engineer went back to turn it off. There are some tasks in the ship that they will not turn off automatically, like that. The air compressor is pretty much the only one I've found that they will turn off automatically rather. So it is best that when you turn something on, say your ventilation while you're submerged to get more oxygen, once you don't need it anymore, go turn it off manually, because they will not do it themselves. Right, so there are a few things like that you do need to keep track of. It looks like this torpedo is about to be loaded. Alright, it's loaded, so let's go have a look. And it's not bugged. Perfect. So there you go, that's one way to fix that bug. There is no way to prevent it that I've figured out, so I've only figured out how to fix it, but it's a good stopgap until the bug itself is actually fixed in the game. So use that as you need to, and hopefully that'll make your life a little bit easier, because I have had it where I've had all 4 torpedoes bugged. This was before I knew how to fix it, and it was rather irritating because there was literally nothing I could do, because I only had 1 torpedo in my stern torpedo bay, and as a result I fired that 1 torpedo and that was me done, because I didn't know how to fix it. You can't move torpedoes from your forward torpedo bay to your aft one, so hopefully that comes in handy for you guys. Alright, so as you can see, the research that I had sent that radio man off to do in the headquarters is now done. So you come in here, you can either go to the menu and go to headquarters, or you can click the research button that was just glowing green. Click the task completed box over here, and you'll get it. So visit port if you would like to refit your U-boat. So what I got was the upgraded hydrophone. So I accept that, and then we'll come down here, and we'll send the same guy off to do another thing, just while we're out. So what we'll do is we will get radar, I reckon. Actually, no, I won't get radar. I found that wasn't quite useful, because when I'm surfaced I can actually see further than my radar can go. In saying that, I didn't upgrade my radar very far, so that may change once you get better radar. So I'm just going to upgrade my hydrophones again, as they're definitely far more useful than radar in my opinion anyway. So start that, and then we'll start the fast forwarding again. So what I'm travelling to here is actually a fast travel point. And so what you can do, you can travel to it manually to turn it green. So there you go, it's turned green, so now a checkpoint unlocked. So what I can do is while I'm anywhere else, I can select it and fast travel to it. I'll pause this while I talk to you before we move on. And then basically what it'll do is it'll just skip time and assume you didn't run into anything on the way, and you'll just lose some fuel and food. So if you actually come over here, so you click checkpoint, so you click on it. I don't know if it'll work while I'm so close to it. No, it's not going to while I'm so close. Or is it? Because it looks like my game is frozen slightly. Oh no. Uh-oh. It hasn't frozen. Because I can still move around, I can still do things. I don't know what's going on here, hang on. There we go. Alright, so I just had to go to the menu and back. Yeah, so I don't think that's going to work because I'm so close to it. So once we get further away, I'll show you that one. For now, just report that I'm in the ordered sector they wanted me in. And now I'll just patrol around randomly in the area to complete the task.
Set a course to these coordinates.
On your order.
So if you're ever unsure of what you're detecting or how many you're detecting because you can't tell from the map and whatnot, you'll see these red symbols, the red numbers here. Basically how many ships or how many things each officer can see or hear in the case of the hydrophone. So my captain who's on the bridge at the moment can't see anything, hence the 0. However, a radio man can hear or detect 3 things. Now they're the 2 radio stations. You can play music for your crew to increase their discipline with these, but as doing so you won't be able to receive transmissions from headquarters because you won't be listening for them. Now I don't know why the radio man says he can hear 3 things when there's only 2 there. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. I don't know if maybe he's also detecting us or something of that nature. I really don't know. See, but now that those 2 are gone, I can detect nothing at all. So I'm thinking the 3rd one is just that he is in range of headquarters, despite not actually having any physical contact with them. But I don't know that one off 100% though. One thing for you to take into account with your radio man specifically is that his stamina is indicated by this bar down here. The higher the stamina, the longer the range he has for his radio. So the longer he's sitting on that radio, and the more tired he gets, the closer you'll need to be to your port to actually receive radio calls and be able to send out reports. So if you lose radio contact for whatever reason all of a sudden, it might be cause of 3 things. So one, the most obvious one is that there is no one on the radio, and he's gone to bed. So that's obviously the most obvious one and easiest to fix. The second one is that you have someone else on the radio because he's in bed, and that person obviously isn't as good as a trained radio man would be. And the last one, the 3rd one, is that he's getting tired. Now you can fix that by three ways. you can obviously move closer to shore, which isn't quite ideal, especially if you're in the middle of doing something important. The second one is you can give him a crew member to assist him. That crew member will expand his range slightly. Or you can swap him out with another officer temporarily. So they're the three ways you can fix that. Generally, if I need to send the message now, I will just put a second officer there, as a second officer is better than a extra crew member. In pretty much every role, you'll find that that's the case too. So even if it's just temporarily, I just throw an extra officer on there, send the radio report I need to send, and then send that other officer back out to do what they need to do. It is important to note as well, with adding crew members to officers, if you leave them there for too long or assign too many to your officers, you will decrease their morale and they'll get a little annoyed at you. And once that reaches zero, one of your crew members will actually, thinking of the right word, mutiny is not quite the right word, but they'll essentially stop doing their job and you'll need to go discipline them yourself. It's not ideal, especially if you're being in the middle of a convoy trying to sneak in and whatnot. So we did just receive another transmission from headquarters, so we'll fast forward this and we'll see what this is. Let's have a look. Information that crucial technology rather has been loaded on the freighter Empire Explorer and it must be sunk at all costs, which is right behind me, so I'm going to quickly pause this. So I just saw it. I'm going to scroll across and we're going to head out this way to intercept it. Head to maximum speed and turn around real quick. Alright, so as you can see, we're making a lot of ground just because I've gone to absolutely max speed here, just so I can get well out and ahead of this thing. So that research is complete. So let's go accept this. See if there's another. So there's no more hydrophones I can put him on, so I'm just going to put him on the radar one now. It's the only one left that I can actually do. It's not really the largest thing I'm concerned about right now because I want this convoy. So we're going to head up here and do this. Just get out ahead of it.
Set course to these coordinates.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my first mate down the hydrophone listening room, send Newman, my radio man, to bed, and my captain to bed, just so that once I actually engage the convoy and get close enough, they will be well rested, and as a result they will be able to man their stations correctly. Once my first mate gets on the hydrophone, I should be close enough, hopefully, to hear them. He doesn't look like he wants to get on the hydrophone. Wonder why. Okay, he's on the hydrophone. Alright, maybe he just can't hear them then. Oh, silly me. Because I'm surfaced. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive to periscope depth. Then my hydrophone will work. See, that's my bad. That was me doing a dum-dum. But we'll fix that one now, and then we'll see what exactly is in this convoy. We should be close enough, hopefully. So we'll see how we go.
Switch to electric mode.
Alright, so there's the hydrophone going up. So I'm going to slow us down, because now that convoy is going to intersect us now. So I'm going to turn away from it. Once I'm on that course, I'll stop, let the convoy catch up to me, and then crack on. So now these guys are awake. Well, not awake rather, but they're able to work because they're full of stamina. So that extends my hydrophone range by a lot, which is good. So I'm going to move him back to his normal duties and add a crew member to the hydrophone. So as you can see, that extends everything. This is exactly what I want. Alright, so I'm going to stop the boat now.
We're slowing down.
So that should allow them to catch up to me fairly quickly. And it'll also extend my hydrophone range a little bit more as well, as now that my own sound isn't interfering with the hydrophone. And we'll see how, so it says it's a tiny group of 2 to 4, which is good. So that should mean that there's only one warship there, if any at all, and it'll probably just be a corvette instead of a destroyer, which will be good. It'll make life a lot easier. Now, it's worth noting, this convoy could be anywhere inside that red circle. So it's just a rough area of where we've heard the propeller noise from. So it's not necessarily on this green marker. Alright, I'll put your mouse over that. Click on it if you want to as well. Now, anywhere inside this red circle. So from where I am now, pretty much anywhere that red circle comes through, I'll be able to hear it. Provided he doesn't get too tired, which he looks like he is. So I'm going to put... See, I can't put him, as you can see, I can't put him on the hydrophone. Lost the word there for a second. Because it's full. It's got an officer and a crewman there. So that is the cost of putting a crewman there. I can't add a second officer now that he's starting to get tired. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the crew member and add my first mate to the hydrophone. Now again, he's not as good as the radio operator. Range has shrunk, so not ideal. So I'm going to put him to bed. My captain to bed. I'm going to turn around.
To these coordinates.
Hopefully I don't lose them. So I don't really want them to blow on past me while I have someone who's not a very good operator on there. Once I see them, I can always just turn back around along their course anyway. So there we go. So there's the 3 ships.
Alarm! Take your positions. Set a course to these coordinates.
We're going to get well out of their way so that I can hit them from the side. Now I want to be facing them when I do it because I've only got 1 torpedo in my aft torpedo bay. So what I want to do, I want to kind of approach them from the front. It's from the front on like a 45-degree angle, or even shallower. The shallower the angle, the better. Simply because it will reduce the chance of the torpedo hitting them and then just skidding off. So I'm going to turn there, and then what I'm going to do, you can see I'm running out of air, so I'm going to show you the ventilation. So we're going to come down here. I'm going to click ventilation. So he's going to come down, and at the cost of battery power, I'm going to refuel my boat with air. So that will stay on until I turn it off. As you can see, it is climbing quite rapidly, which is good. However, it is obviously draining my batteries. So it means I will stay submerged for far less time than I could. But it means my crew won't die of suffocation. So it's a bit of a trade for that one. So what we're going to do is, so it looks like they're actually coming down towards me now, just because I'm on that sector line. That's going to be a bit annoying, but so I do that, I'll stop the time, stop the fast forward rather. So the ventilation's on even though my oxygen is at 100%, so now it's just a waste of power, and it also makes me easy to hear. Now these transports don't have sonar, which is a way to see, so it would pop up with a grey symbol here saying that the ship has sonar, so these don't, which is good. But nonetheless, it is something you don't really want to get in the habit of doing. So as you can see, now that I've put my hydrophone on and my periscope as well, the detection speed, the target speed will go up faster because because I'm now doing it in 2 different ways. And what it can do if you wish, you can select a specific ship and tell them to do 1 ship at a time. So it will speed it up a lot, but it will mean, because I've only got 2 detection modes running, rather, 1 ship will not be detected at all. So I'll still know it's there, but I won't increase my chance of hitting it with a torpedo. And that's why I want to launch all 3 torpedoes at once. I kind of want to do them all at the same time. But what I'll do it now just to show you how to do it. You just click the ship you want, come down here, these 4 symbols here, this is your torpedo one. So this one you can do to actually look at the ship physically. So you can, if you want to do it, you can see what it is. Leave the view, and then you can come here. So plot and intercept course to the vessel. I don't want to do that. And this one, orbit targeting stations list. So then you click
Calculate torpedo
your
course.
officer. So now this officer here will only target this one. And as you can see, the speed climbs quite quickly, but it means that these 2 slow down. So you can do it that way if you wish, but your hydrophone can't do it. It can only be done through your periscope or the conning tower if you're surfaced.
We're slowing down.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this freighter to about 75%, and then I'm going to do the furthest one, because that's the furthest one away from being ready of shooting. This middle one's not too far, not too bad. Plus it'll keep slowly getting put up anyway. I found I don't like shooting anything below 75%. However, it all depends on how much of a risk you wish to take on the torpedo. So now my leader can also target. So it's leaders who can target things, not radio man, because obviously the radio man doesn't know how to launch the torpedoes. So now that I'm doing both ships, that should do quite well. That was actually something I just learnt just then as well, something I just noticed. I didn't notice that before. So what we're going to do, we're just going to wait. Hopefully these will climb relatively quickly, so I'm going to fast forward time slightly, just to save you guys some time. Alright, so there we go. So we're starting to get there. Alright, so I'm going to launch a torpedo at this freighter, since it's the closest. So, flood tube 1, and then I'm going to launch. And then I'll launch one at this one, because this one is also at 75%. Actually, I'll wait for that one to get closer, actually. I'll launch it this one here.
Flood tube 1.
So I'll do that. I like to do that just to make sure that it's the right ship. I have had it launch at the wrong ship before. Let's launch that. And this one is still climbing. So I'll leave. See, that one's still going, so we'll wait. This one up here, last for the time. See how we go. It looks like it's going to be a hit. And now I'm also going to launch this torpedo, this ship.
Flood tube 2.
Hopefully it gets around that. So there we go, that's a hit. It's a good hit too. Alright, and I'm going to... Or will I? No, I think I might wait actually. Because I don't want to risk it hitting that one again, wasting a torpedo, so I'm actually going to wait. Now this one's nice and close. Fast forward just a touch, let it get in front of me. Alright, so that should be a guaranteed hit, so I'm going to fire that. Now I'm going to see what this unknown group was. I think it might just be the pontoons. Yeah, it is. So that ship is sunk now. So I can freely launch a torpedo at this one now. So there you go. So there's a dud torpedo for you, which is unfortunately quite irritating, but it happens. Alright, so
Fire.
Torpedo. We're going to head out there. I see, there you go. So that one's launched up there. That's not ideal. Not what I wanted. But not that big of an issue, really. I'll follow this torpedo. Follow this tube, rather, not the torpedo itself. And fire away. I'm going to send him back to his normal tasks. So there we go, we hit it. It's good. It's not on fire though, but it's still taking a bit of damage. Not a lot, but a bit. Hopefully it stays up, because then I can actually show you guys the deck gun. That'll be a good way to do that. That one's going to hit. It's almost certainly going to hit. Oh, okay, I lied. It missed. That's kind of annoying. We're going to forward one, and we're going to surface. Send him back to his normal job. We're going to surface the boat so that we can get this bit done quicker. So what I'm going to give this guy 2 crew members so that we can get these torpedoes loaded faster. Get this guy down and come talk to this guy who wants to do something. Oh, there you go. So he burnt scrambled eggs. So I can punish him in 4 different ways, which will have different outcomes, but for the moment I'm just going to do warning. That's the one I always do anyway. I don't want to go on about that while we're in the middle of combat, so we'll leave that for now. And then we'll wait until that's done, and then I'll put him on the deck gun and get him firing away. And give him 2 crew members. Him 2 crew members, so everything gets done nice and quick. So now I'm going to put Cola on the deck gun. So he's going to go up to the deck gun and start firing away at this near ship. It's the one I want him to shoot at. Once he gets there, I'm going to tell him which ship to shoot at. So this ship actually took very little damage from my torpedo, which is rather irritating. Not a whole heap I can do about it there. So, as you can see, it takes time to get there. So there you go, he's firing away already. But he's firing at the wrong ship, which they do every now and then, unfortunately. So here we go. So click the ship. So what you do, you click the ship,
Finish them off.
and then click your guys on the deck gun. So now he will shoot at that ship. So go down here. So as you can see, he's shooting away. Now what I can do, I can take manual control if I want to. I'll show you this. Get the crosshairs over it. Plug away. Now, far slower than conventional torpedo, obviously. But there we go. Obviously, it's something important because it's now on fire. So, done something. I don't know what I did. I've done something. So I'm going to get him to stop shooting. Get him to hold fire. Hopefully I'll save the torpedo, and I'll plug away.
Change course.
Midships. Because if you are turning, it does reduce the accuracy of your torpedo. So, torpedo is he warming? So he's warming up my aft torpedo, so that's no good for me right now. I don't need that. I'm going to come up here. The torpedo, you're still loading tube 1. So tube 1 is now loaded. I'm now going to get him to come up here. Wait, what tube are you warming up? You're warming up. What tube are you warming up? Need a torpedo loaded. So there we go. So that freighter sunk just from my deck gun, which is good. That doesn't happen often. So I'm going to take that. I'll be quite happy about that. So alright, he's preheating tube 1, which is good. That's what I want. Now that I'm surface 2, I should be able to... Oh, so I can't send the radio because obviously the radio man's asleep. So I'll wait. Wait till he wakes up and then I'll send a report. Because then I can just send a report about all 3 ships at once. Which I'll be happy with. I'm happy with that. So now what I am concerned about here is the plane rocking up. So I'm going to move this guy to the flag gun. Might give me a bit of protection. Not much, but hopefully enough so that I can survive a strafing run from an enemy plane should they rock up while I'm still surfaced going after this bloody freighter here. As you can see, the freighter's zigzagging, trying to get away from me. And this torpedo just doesn't want to preheat. Oh, so he's pre-eating. Let's see if he has a better
Set a
chance.
course to these
Better
coordinates.
luck, rather. And he doesn't, which is annoying. So I'm going to have to get out in front of this.
Faster, faster. Set a course to these
So
coordinates.
afraid it knows I'm chasing it, so it's trying to get away from me. But telling you right now, it ain't gonna.
Set a course to
get
these
ahead of it and then
coordinates.
turn around, hit it with my half torpedo.
Flood
I'm
tube
gonna
5.
flood the tube as soon as I'm ready. Alright, so there we go. So I'm gonna send a report of those two ships. Alright, so it's running. So I'm
Set
not
a
going to be able to
course
get
to
it with
these
the torpedo,
coordinates.
unfortunately. So I'm going to send him to bed. Send him to bed. Move the crew off these guys because they're just wasting away now. So as you can see, my discipline's dropped a fair amount just in that time, just because I've had the crew members working with the officers. And they're not happy with that. So I keep plugging away here, chasing the ship down. Because those two ships I sunk earlier were not the ship I was wanting in this convoy, unfortunately.
Set a course
Just
to these
matter
coordinates.
of bad luck, really. Right, so now I'm going to send him back to the deck gun. And then we're going to plug away. Hopefully, and sink this ship, because it seems that my last torpedo is bugged out. It just will not preheat. So I'm going to try and unload it. See what happens. See if that's another way of fixing yet another bug. At this point in time, there's nothing else I can do other than shoot at this thing with my deck gun. Isn't ideal, but it works. So, not going to complain. What we're going to do, I'm going to do this manually. So I had some pretty good luck before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to HE. Switch to my HE round, see if I can cause some fires on board instead of armor piercing. So I don't really need to pierce its armor. Oops, there we go, that shell landed short. Hopefully I'll hit something flammable on their deck. There we go. There's a fire. That's what I was after. Get out of that. And I'll turn him back to hold fire. Let's see how we go. See if this thing sinks.
Set a course to these coordinates.
Alright, so they put the fire out, which is unfortunate. Come back in here. Plug away again. Trying to hit different parts of the ship, see if I can catch some stuff on fire. Deck being so low with these waves, it's making it hard. So there we go, caused another fire. So let's see how that goes. See if that sinks her. Yep, there we go. So her crew's abandoning it. They can't put the fire out. And so she hasn't sunk yet, but since the crew's abandoned the ship, their game counts that as sunk. So I'm going to send the report through. Remove the crew members from this guy because they're starting to get annoyed. Send him back to his normal tasks, and that's that side mission complete for this patrol. So we're going to turn to normal, so forward 1, head back this way, which will give us more than enough kilometres in the box to finish the mission, and then we'll head back home. We're just going to fast travel away. No, I'm sorry that torpedo bugged out there, but it was a good way to show you guys the deck gun. So it worked out in our favour, I guess. Just going to refill my compressed air. So as you can see here, the UI has disappeared. Yet another bug that happens every now and then. I found the easiest way to fix it is to scroll all the way into your crew, all the way back out, and everything tends to reappear that way. Not sure if there is another way of making that happen, but it's just the easiest way I have found of getting it to do it. So let's see what's going on here. So he's still warming up this torpedo. So if he just does this over and over again, it's a pretty good way of knowing that it's bugged. I'm going to stop bothering with it. Yep. Okay, so it's done. So it's cooked. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change these guys to quartermasters. Alright. And oh wait, they can reload my deck gun and do that. So what I'm going to do, unload this torpedo. I'll sell it when I get back to base. That way I should not have this issue later on. Hopefully. Hopefully. Alright, there we go, so that's unloaded. Alright, so now let's leave those two engineers to crack on with loading my deck gun and reloading my deck gun while we go. Actually, while we're doing that, I will show you where everything is stored, just so you know for your own, for when you do it. So you got your cabinet here. It's one storage area. In here you've got like diving suits, coffees, things like this. So you can go over them and have a read of what they do. Basically they're equipment for your officers to equip to allow them to do different things, either safely or do them at all. Now your main storage room is in here in your galley. So you come in here, you have a look. So I've got 25 large HE ammo for my deck gun in my storage room, and I've got 24 in my deck gun itself. So those quartermasters are moving things backwards and forwards. In my ventilation here, you can put things like fairly sure you can put the potassium absorbers in here to extend things like your the length of time that you'll be able to breathe for. So I'll do that as well. This is my flak ammo. My galley here is the food. So I've used all my food that was in the storage room. I'm just down to my cheese, just left. That's it. Exit that. Let him do that. So that's done. So that's the that's been put in the ventilation, which is good. Diesel compressor is still going. I might have to turn it off because I don't have an engineer how to do that. So I'm going to turn that off. There he is. Here he comes. No, that's off. There we go. So he will now return to his normal duties. And we'll... There we go, so we're back in the open ocean. We're far enough away from the ships for travel mode to kick in. And now we're back to being close to them again. Go back to fast travel, and we're back in travel mode again. There we go. So we'll do this. And then we'll be able to head back to port. I'll show you guys the upgrade menu. How you can upgrade your boat. And put things like the hydrophone and the radar that I bought on there. I'll show you how to restock your torpedoes and things like that. And then that'll be the end of the video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far at least. You know, I think we've sunk, what have we sunk? 6 ships? I think it is. 6? 5. It's either 5 or 6. That's quite a lot, especially compared to the last version. I struggle to sink that into 2 patrols sometimes. Now that we are far enough away though, I might show you these checkpoints. If they work. Nah. So, it might be... No, so the checkpoint... There we go, sorry. So you right click on it, not left click. I could have remembered it was left click, but I've clearly got that wrong. So you right click on the point, and you're far enough away, and it says, pops up, we're travelling to the western approaches, will take us 1 day and 4 hours. Consume 37 tons of fuel and 41 food units. So, I can accept this, and navigation penalty will be 0, meaning I will be right on the point. So the higher that percentage, the further away you will be, and then you'll need to figure out where you are. using the navigator station. I'm not going to do that simply because I haven't used them before and I don't know if it will count the kilometers towards my mission here. So we'll just sail across, and then I might do that in a later video, especially if I have to come back up here, or we might head out. And so like if you want to head over to America, which is definitely something you can do, it is open. You can come out here, get the Bermuda Islands, God if I wish I could speak, the Bermuda Islands marker, and do that. It will still use your fuel and whatnot, but it will obviously save you probably a couple of hours of gameplay, just getting out there and just sailing out that way. So that will be quite handy for later on, especially the larger missions. There we go. So that's that research complete. Let's go see if there's another level of radar, which there is. So we'll pop him back on that. Oh, actually, no we won't, because when we get back we'll do the snorkels. And that will still be going when we get back. So we'll leave that blank. And we'll just crack on. Another thing I will show you just while we're travelling around is the map. So this is what the full map. So this shows you everything, including the markers and whatnot. Or you can come into the world map here, which is far more zoomed out a little bit more and easier to move around. But it doesn't show you where you are, but it's quicker to move and zoomed out a little bit more. So we'll come back in now. Now I've completed the patrol, so I can send through the report. Now this is where the new version comes in. On the previous version, if I sunk anything on my way back after this, I could not radio it through and get money for it. I don't know how that'll be with the new version. So if we see something and we can sink it, that'll be an interesting thing to test. So we'll have to see. Let's start coming to the mission review here. Right, so over here, this is the main mission we got. Alright, so we were out for 8 days and 1 hour, and we sunk nearly 30,000 tons, which is a lot. Now this is the side mission here we got, which is sink the ship. You can get more than one at once. So I got to sink the ship, went out and did something very similar to that. It's the exact same fleet. And it went out in the same direction. And I had to go all the way to Canada to go get it. And it came back and then it asked me to find a friendly U-boat. So you can get more than one at the same time. As you can see, I got $15,000 for the reward and 75% reputation. So unfortunately I didn't get a whole reputation point, and I won't be able to show you those in this video. But I will definitely have one by the end of the next video, the end of the next patrol. So we're just going to turn and head for home, and then I'll show you how to dock. And hopefully they haven't changed. Well, hopefully they have changed it in this new version, because in the old version you just had to basically ram your U-boat into your dock to do it. There wasn't a pop-up like there's supposed to be. So we'll have to see if they fix that. Hopefully it has, because it feels a little weird running a U-boat into your dock, but it's the only way you could do it. So we'll just have to wait and see. As you can see, I've by mistake left my captain on rest, so he hasn't got out of bed. He's been a bit lazy. So we're going to unclick rest and he's going to return to his normal duties. So if you do rest someone for whatever reason, Pardon me. If you do rest someone for whatever reason, you do need to remember to take them off rest, otherwise they will stay there permanently until you remove them. Let's increase speed here so we can get back a little bit faster. Because I don't want to cut out any gameplay from the video, because I do want you guys to see everything. As I said earlier, I don't want to make the game seem like it plays any quicker than it does. I want you guys to get a proper experience of what the game plays like, including the travel time, so that you know if you don't like sitting here and just watching a green U-boat, move along the screen for 1,300 kilometers like we're doing right now, this won't be a game for you. If you're after a game that is action-packed all the time, no slow bits, you probably won't enjoy this, simply because there are slow bits like this. So I do want to keep that in the video so you guys can get a proper gauge on what you think you'll enjoy. So as you can see, I have my two engineers set to quartermasters, and they've moved every single round from my deck gun, from my storage room up to my deck gun. So now there's nothing else to move, they're just sitting there waiting. I don't want to move them back to mechanics, because then they'll load that bug torpedo back in my tube and I won't be able to sell it. So we'll just leave them there, they can just sit there and chill for the moment. We'll take the time now actually to show you those three extra roles. So quartermaster, which you've already seen as they run around and haul the ammo everywhere. Medic, so that one's self-explanatory. They'll run around and heal your injured crewmen or injured officers with any available med kits in your storage room. And then gunner. So the gunner, they will move up onto the deck when you're surfaced and man your AA gun or your deck gun, whichever one is available and whichever one is needed, and automatically shoot at any enemy vessels or planes that they see. So there we go, starting to get back into port now. So now we're close to land. It's obviously gone back into the slower mode. We'll just hit fast travel, get us nice and close. And thankfully it's during the day, so I'll actually be able to do this properly instead of from the map. You'll be actually able to see exactly what I mean by having to ram the dock. There's another little bug. Just because I lose visual of the shore just ever so slightly, takes me back out to travel mode, and then I'll see the shore again, and then we'll come back into this mode. So, pardon me again. So that is another thing you'll have to be careful of. So now we are coming into shore. You'll notice that I'm putting the line through the dock. Now, that's because of the U-boat's turning circle. I reckon I'll probably end up right where I want to be. Now with this though, another point to note, alright, so with time compression on, here. God, I'm coughing so much, God, pardon me. With time compression on, the U-boat will take its proper turning circle as you're about to see. Alright, so it won't turn spot on that point. Alright, it will keep turning out and turn its rudder, so I've actually done that poorly. Or what we'll do, we'll show you the fast travel. What fast travel will do, I'm going to slow down so I don't run into it. If you hit fast travel, it'll hit that point and turn on right angles, right, as you can see. So for real sharp turns like this one, fast travel's not bad. but you'll have to be careful with time compression that you don't take the turning circle too large and run into the shore. As you can see, there's some more friendly U-boats out here now. So everyone's coming back from their patrols. So just fast forward in and we'll come into the dock and you'll be able to see. So you'll be able to see what I mean by having to run into the dock, essentially. It is quite unfortunate that is the only way to do it at this point, unless there is another way, in which case, if there is, obviously pop a comment in the video, because I haven't found it. I haven't been able to see it. I've done research and it says once you get near enough, it should come up with a pop-up saying if you want to dock. I've never seen that though. So this is how I do it. If there is another way of doing it and that you do know how that pop-up comes up, you know how to get it, please put a comment in so that I can do that myself and others can do it as well. Alright, so there you go. So I've returned home to my home port and I am now free to grab another mission or do recruitment. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video and there'll be more to come. Cheers.